Coming up on today's show, we look out of Steve's window. Well, we do a little bit more than that. We've been up in Huddersfield, up in the Midlands for the Huddersfield show, but beforehand we had a good look around on a fun weekend, so we'll be catching up on that one. Just about scraping through, literally, cracking on with the Jaguar. This is Kitty Hawk 148 scale Jag, so we'll be having a catch up on that one. Wheels time, yeah, pushing on with the actual Sherman, really coming together really quickly now. Loving every bit of this one, enjoying the weathering, but we're going to be having a look at the quickest and easiest way to do your road wheels with a cheap £1 tool. Photo Etch 101 Part 2 went up earlier this week, so we can have a quick catch up of that one. We're going to be looking around the Royal Armouries Museum. There's a full video on this one, so this is going to be a little highlight one for the new show. And of course we were at the Huddersfield show, so we'll be having a look at all the great work there. Hello, welcome to Flory Models. I'm Philip Flory. Yes, just about getting over the flu. Still, lungs have had it, but we're getting there now. Great week last week. Obviously we were up to Leeds. Alright, it was a 6.5 hour journey up there, which was a little bit of a horrible run, especially in the weather, but when we got there it was well worth it. As I said, we went up to see Steve and obviously the Northern Fob guys, have a great weekend with them, and then obviously do the Huddersfield show. So to start off with, let's have a look around Steve's man cave. Welcome to Flory Models, I'm Philip Flory, and this week we're in Huddersfield and we're in Steve's man cave. Yes, we went up, invaded Steve's place on the Saturday morning and had a good look round. He's got a great setup, great man cave and everything else. Everything's nice and easy to reach, as you can imagine, but it was lovely to be able to see his models in person, to have them a good old look over and everything else like that. And it's nice to see that his place is just like ours, really. Reference material, all the models all over the place, basically dust magnets like us all have, and everything else like that. But getting up personal with it all, seeing how Steve has his place laid out and the differences between sort of mine and his and things like that really was nice. It was nice to see some of the models really up close and have a good look over them, and they are just as stunning in the photos as they are in real life as well. There's his Merkava, as you can say, been working on that one, going right the way through and showing us all the bits and pieces to go with it. Yep, there it is. Just like the rest of us, a complete mess. As he says, paint's all really handy to use for him and everything else. And as you can see, just generally working around, he's got his computer, the various bits and pieces behind and everything else like that. Some of the models we did have a chance to have a look at though, really up close. Obviously the tank transporter. Beautiful diorama on this one, loads and loads of detail. The weathering, the dustiness of it gives it a massive scale effect. And as I said, you can see the Abrams there being worked on the back and everything else. And just the little things, to say the stowage on the back, which is something I'm taking on with the Sherman, absolutely fantastic. Just gives it that extra little bit of depth. But generally just all the parts around it, and then obviously just the crew, and you say the stowage on the back. Now there's the thing we haven't seen much of. This is the Airfix Typhoon, which I'm starting on at the moment. Seeing his, no pressure, absolutely fantastic. The thing is a complete monster, as you can see. Beautiful weathering on this one. Different weathering technique as well. It's used oils on this one instead of standard type of washes, and as you can see, it gave it a great effect. Love that dirt and grime and chipping on the leading edge of the wings there. So yes, there we go. He's just as messy as us, absolutely. Stuff everywhere. You know what it's like when you get going, it just builds up and builds up and builds up, just as it is here. And I'm up to my neck in pigments at the moment. And everything else like that. But it's a great setup he's got there. After that, we went over to the actual Leeds, which is about a 20-minute drive up the road. And we had a look around the Royal Armouries Museum. Yes, Saturday after at Steve's we made our way over to Leeds and went to the Royal Armouries Museum. Some amazing exhibits and displays they've got there. There we go, look, a tiger and an elephant. Not the tanks, the actual real thing. As I said, it's one of those places where you can get lost in time after time and probably see something new, but just some of the detail in the weapons. Obviously it's all firearms based, as you can imagine, but some of the old guns, the detailing that went into them, and just the artwork, they are pure pieces of art, which is something you don't really see in a firearm. That's what we're going to redesign the man cave to be for our little gentleman's area. We were all discussing that one down there, as you can see all the guys. As I said, it was absolutely fantastic. Some of the little sets they've got really do send it off very, very well. It sort of works its way through all different genres of firearms. So say clay pigeon shooting, target shooting, throughout the ages as well, which is quite interesting when you see how it was done back in the day. This was one about firearms in the modern era, what the police have to deal with, confiscated weapons, things like that, and really what they're up against, as you can see. So you've got everything from flintlock pistols right up to the more modern type of stuff. Right the way through, but it's got a great sort of display about obviously confiscated firearms they've got, the ones that the police use, and everything else like that. And generally, as you said, different eras. So obviously you've got the famous Tommy gun there right the way through to sort of, you know, the film sets, what the film goes, the James Bond one was in there, and everything else like that. So as you can see, some real nice detail in the weapons. You can get up close and personal. They are all behind glass, but as you can see, it gives you a real nice, you know, accurate look close up at firearms that traditionally you probably are never going to get close to. Okay, so you say classic things like the AK platform, and obviously, as we said, you're working through the ages, so you're going through sort of the Middle Ages, things like that, and then they've got a fantastic display here of all the Shogun era, from all the Japanese martial arts stuff through to obviously the swords, the armor, and absolutely everything in that era. Again, I've never seen any of this stuff up close, and it really was a privilege to see it. Some amazing stuff, lots more than you actually see in this sort of short video of it all, including the mounted units, and they've got lots of stuff on the archery and everything else like that. So absolutely fantastic. Moving down to different halls, this was the World War I era one that we had a good look round. Obviously, as you can imagine, you know, traditionally it's very dark, and normally when you see museums they have that smell. Definitely something you don't get. This is a brand new type of museum, very clean, very fresh, and it gives the exhibits a different light to look at because they're not in that oldie worldy smell, museum smell. You know, you sort of appreciate it a lot more. You know, obviously the firearms, what the guys faced, obviously all the different genres. You've got everything right the way down here. This is the older sort of machine guns. They've got the more modern stuff, miniguns down there as well, and stuff from the Russian stuff as well. And then generally just working your way around the entire museum. As you can see in the background, there's just cases and cases and cases of all the different firearms and stuff we've never seen, like the extended mag there. There's our Rob pushing Steve, okay. And then obviously you've got things like the sniper rifles, how they were being used, things like that. Right the way up obviously to the more modern things. So along, you know, lines with the SA-80s, the sniper rifles, the pistols, the things that the British forces use, different types of ammunition. There's a small section on that. Right the way up to other conflicts, obviously the Falklands era, this one, for the different types of firearms that were facing each other. So more with the Argentinian, we're using the M16 platform, compared to the British sort of SLRs of the day, and all the different firearms that were used in that particular conflict. Again, great research material. Do have to mention, it is free to get in, doesn't cost you anything to get in these museums, which is what really makes it good. And we thought the car parking was going to be bad opposite and be quite expensive, but that didn't work out too bad either. So if you are looking for a day out, it's definitely the place to go. Really, really is interesting. Very nice museum. Right the way up to, American guys won't see this lot. This is the going right back in time now, sort of the medieval stuff. The suits of armour on display are absolutely amazing. The artwork and just the precision in the metal making, bearing in mind this is all panel beated out, was absolutely stunning. And this is that hall that you walk into at the beginning with all the different sort of armaments. Got modern, the chest plates, the staffs, the pikes, complete with rifles, everything you can imagine, and all the swords up there. Really is, that's over something like 7 or 8 floors tall, that is, with a mirror down the bottom. Definitely well worth a visit. I have to say, it's great that these places are free these days. I know there's a few museums around here which aren't, and they cost a fortune to get into, but certainly having something like that as a reference as well, it's absolutely fantastic. And as I say, the full video, if that up, it's about a 20-minute one if you want to watch the full one. It's going to be free to view. I'll pop it up onto the actual Today page later on as soon as it's ready to go up. But as I said, if you are in the area, go and have a look. There is amazing stuff in there. There's even more than that. We've only covered scratched the surface on it, because obviously you've got a lot more stuff than what we could fit into the video. But as I said, if you want to have a look around, go. It's free. Absolute bargain. Definitely is the place to go. Anyway, cracking on here to start off with the Jaguar, which is just about ready for paint. I'm just trying to get the Sherman out of the way because the Sherman literally is almost done. And then we can get on with the Jaguar. As you can see, got a little bit of black work on here. This is just to seam check it before it goes into primer. Once this is cleared out of the way, probably tomorrow, I can then push on nicely with the Jaguar and get the camo work on everything else like that. But before then, more seam lines, so let's have a look. Filler and everything else. This guy is not fixed, it's just sat here for the moment. All right, so what you can do is you can either use scraping tools. So we got here, these are the Alec stainless steel, or steel even, I don't know actually what they are, I think they're brushed steel, but they've got various curves and things on them. I've been liking these recently because what you can do, you can roughly work out what size of curve you've got, and you can get in there and scrape with it, and literally just go round and scrape the detail without losing too much. So what you do is you literally just come along, give it a scrape, just like this, okay, and as you can see we've got a high side and a low side. But because it's putting in a curve to it as well, probably come with a slightly smaller one, you can do it just like that, okay? And we haven't lost too much detail around. The trouble when you're sanding, sometimes you can go too far and overdo it. We're just trying to get a nice smoother edge on this one. And then here we've got a very big curve, so all we're doing, this is purely just to go around. A little bit in there. Okay, pretty happy. Got a little bit of a low side on there. Then we can come in with a sander. Okay, and we're just going to sand down. Okay, just a few passes. Then we can come in with an old sanding sponge. Okay, so we've got quite an old one here. Okay, and we can just lightly buff over. Okay, just like so. Actually, I think I've got metallizer all over this. Be careful what you got. Okay, and then as you can see, actually it's worked quite well. You can see the scratching and everything that's sort of formed in there. So that's when you come in with a buffer. Okay, so we're going to use the blue one. And this will take care of all your scratches, all the nasties, and you're not going to take out any detail with this guy purely because it is so soft. Okay, it's not going to be aggressive, so we're going to put in a bit of moisture just to help this thing work a bit better, to polish the plastic back up. Okay, and then we can just come in with a white side just to get rid of all the nasty scratches. Okay, and then hopefully, as you can see, it's all nice and shiny, and then you can look at it and roughly work out what you need to do. Alright, so we're pretty good with that. So we're going to have to come in and we're going to have to rescribe these areas and put all this back in, all this detail. These air intakes are particularly nasty because there's a big step on those. Okay, you could get rid of it by just simply going in and blasting it with a sander. If you're not too comfortable about that, you could just put in a panel line into there and it'll take your eye away from it. Personally, we're going to take care of it. So again, coming in with soft sanders, and the skinny is quite nice because it will get into a localized area without taking too much out. So we're just going to sand it back. Okay, so and we don't need it to be completely flush because there is a panel line there. It's just we're trying not to do too much damage around it. Pretty much getting there now. Okay, so you can see we've blended in that one just down there. Okay, got a tiniest little step just in the middle section. Okay, and that's all we need to do. Very nice job on that one. So the underside one isn't too bad at all, so let's give it a light rub there. And then these side ones in here, again, it's just going to be a case of, I would keep it with a sort of vertical up and down just to take out the step, but I won't come in here with anything stronger than a medium grip sander, purely because of otherwise you're going to end up damaging the too much and ripping into it a little bit too much and all the rest of it. Okay, in here I'm hoping it's going to be quite a limited bit of damage. So there we go. Using these scrapers, it's very simple, very easy, and you don't kill off detail too much like you do when you're sanding. When you're sanding, you tend to go a little bit over the top. Even when using skinny sticks, you know, you can get into tighter areas, but generally scraping down, which is a more sort of, you know, a Far Eastern way. They do a lot of scraping over there. But I did the tops of these wings with them using this blade here and just went over the tops to get that level between the two. Worked really, really well. I have been told there's a load of knockoff ones that is going around, which you say knockoff, I can't understand, you know, it literally is just a thin piece of metal, but apparently there is some cheap knockoff ones going around at the moment as well, so just be careful where you want to get them. These are the Alec ones, which I do believe I have the box still, I do. Which come out obviously of the Far East. These are Japanese ones and everything else like that, but it tells you all the different curves and the bits and pieces on there. We have reviewed them. They are on the YouTube channel, so go and have a look at that one for them. Then it was a case of pushing on with the Sherman, which you're not quite here yet, you're a little bit behind, but needless to say, the Sherman is coming along nicely. We've done the underside, you can see we've got a little bit of rusty stuff going on at the moment, all down here to sort of playing with pigments and stuff like that. Obviously, you know, I don't like to name drop or anything, but the new Flory models pigments are coming out at the probably end of the month, maybe the beginning of next month of March. Definitely by the 1st of March they're going to be for sale. So we've been using things like pigment fixers, cheaper ways of doing it to be honest, to give a rusty track look just for the moment. And then what we're going to do is actually go around and mud this down by using pigments and oils and everything else. I haven't used anything the normal way I do it with like the Flory models wash and things like that down there. We've just been using technically acrylic paints, oil paints and pigments instead of traditional washes, but having a lot of fun with that one. But first of all, road wheels. Now road wheels are something that drive me mad completely because they just take far too long and you're going around and they never look perfect and anything else. And then to be honest, I can't even remember where I saw it. I certainly didn't come up with the idea, I just pinched it from somebody else, but somebody mentioned about actually doing road wheels by using a cheap template, which is, we've spoken about it on the show before, but here it is. Literally, don't go out and spend $4.99. To be honest, at the Huddersfield show, I saw somebody selling these for a £5 a piece. Really? These are like cheapo £1 things maximum out of your local cheap shop, and they do a great job. So let's have a look. Next up, wanting to get rid of and get them out of the way, is the road wheels. Now, road wheels by their nature, a bit of a pain, but I've covered it before, but we'll have a quick recap. I like using these, dead cheap, 99p. All it is a stencil. So what you actually have here, all we've got your little holes in here, you just pick the size you want to go and then go ahead and spray. So what we've done here, I've already done a couple of little test pieces here. That one's been done, I think this one's still to do. Okay, what you actually have is just to work out what size hole you actually are. Now we've got two types on here because this is one of the rear idler wheels. So actually what you can do, you can just come along and see which one it is. All right, okay, and that looks like it's the size to me. So that's a number 13. What you want to do, grab yourself a little bit of tape just to cover up the holes around it. Okay, so you don't get any overspray going through or anything else like that. So we're just going to put a couple of these on just down here. Okay, just one over there. Now on something like this, it's pretty straightforward. So what I tend to do, get yourself a polystyrene block. You can do the underside, literally just like this. All right, so all we're going to do, got it placed down on there, come along. In here we've got neat olive drab. Okay, I've only got a little bit left in the bottom here. All right, but all you do for this one, put it through, line it up over the top. Okay, goes in the hole and then blast away. Keep it light, keep it very directional and everything else like that. And there we go, that one is done, absolutely perfect. And then the great thing is you can turn it over, poke it in the block, this is why we're using this, okay, and then you can come along and do the top side. All right, so you just place this on. Job done. Okay, just like that. All right, and then hopefully you can see we've got a very nice job on that. Get rid of that. Okay, just on the end there, no problem at all. Both parts done, all good to go. And as I say, I've done the others already. These ones over here, funnily enough, they're a slightly different size, so we've done these already. But if we show you on here, what you can actually do is get yourself into quite a little bit of a rhythm. All right, so with these, to be honest, we've got if we just put down 4, well, to be honest, this is my last 4 to do. All right, these ones here are slightly different size. Now I've already done some of them, so these are the next one down. These are 12mm. All right, so then all you want to do, just come along, grab your over the top, pop it down on top. You can literally come in now and do these quite quickly, and this is the thing with this is instead of going around trying to paint them all up by hand and all those horrible things that take forever, you can actually do these really, really quickly, okay, with no problem at all. And to be honest, it's how I've done all the others, and there's quite a few on this. Okay, then you can turn them up the other way, space them out a little bit because it will just make your spraying down on top a little bit easier, and then you can just come down just like this, and just making sure you get it nice and central. They're leaning over a little bit, just making sure you come in from all the angles. And the thing you want to make sure is you don't get it too wet, because if this part here gets too wet, it tends to soak through and away you go, okay? And you end up with like a drag mark when you pull your mask away. But that's both wheels done, easy. So paint it just black right the way through, and then just mask over the top and go through. And for the sake of £1, it's probably one of the best bargains you can get for modelling to speed things up. And all right, we're using it on tank wheels, but you can do it on any wheel whatsoever, because I've got sizes down here to 1mm to 23mm. No, 36mm actually is my biggest. So think of your possibilities. You could literally go on forever on this one. And there we go. I did all of those wheels in 10 minutes. Now, if I was doing them by hand, it would have taken a week, you know, because I just get bored doing things like that. So it was really fun way. It's quick, it's easy. I've been doing it for about a year now, doing it this way. And it's just so simple. It just speeds things up. And even if you're in a situation where you haven't got an edge for it to go round, you can put your own edge in and spray it in, and that will give you an edge then which washes and things like that will cling to of the paint edge. So it's not necessarily have to be on a perfect wheel. You can turn them into perfect. As long as this doesn't move around. And just remember, if you're doing loads of wheels, wipe them off, dry them down, because otherwise if you get build up on the underside and then you move away, sometimes it will smear and can drag the paint, especially acrylic, across and scratch it and things like that. So if you keep your stencil quite clean, to be honest, you know, I don't, as you can see, but normally I give these a rub down, a little bit of airbrush cleaner, and you're good to go. So anyway, we actually have part 2 of the photo etch to go up. There's only another, I think it's about 15-20 minute part on there. So the last part of this one went up. So this just basically covers the last bits and pieces of it, of actually painting it. And all your final stages that perhaps you want to do with your photo etch, okay? The one thing I didn't cover on there, I said I'd do, is the soldering thing. That's because, to be honest, the time of doing it, I was out of gas. So I am going to do, literally it'll be a part 3, which is soldering with it, as soon as I get a bit of room and a bit of time and everything else. Thanks for all the feedback on it, loads of feedback. I am now going to do one on a resin cockpit. We're just going to do purely a resin cockpit, nothing else, and it'll be the next sort of standalone tutorial on actually doing your modelling in separate parts. So Photo Etch 101 done, Resin 101 will be up next, and as I say, it's going to be painting a cockpit and maybe do a wheel well as well of something big, just so I can get you in nice and close and show you in detail. Sorry there's been no kit reviews up this week. To be honest, it's just because I was ill. Obviously Monday we were travelling back, so I'm technically on a day behind catching up doing these things. But I have got for next week, which will be up, will be the Sabre dog. This is 1/32 Sabre, and I must admit it does look very good. I think, you know, Kitty Hawk, thumbs up. Now you really are starting to get the right way with this one. I've had a quick look in the box and it does look very nice. And also we've got up next week, which I'll put up early next week, be up Monday or something else like that. We've got the MATV MARP system. Obviously it's the Armoured Reconnaissance Vehicle, again by Panda. Some great stuff coming out from them, so we'll be having a look at that one. So anyway, that's about it for this week. I'm going to leave you now with the highlights, obviously, from the Huddersfield show with us and the great models that are on there. So until next week, everybody, happy modelling and take care.
There's more on there now, that's the trouble. Just looking at that. Trip up is a bit longer than the app set. It's like yeah, we came up on Friday. We left 10:20, got here at 6:30. Stay on the road.
Well, we've done before. it's something I haven't come to terms with yet, except that logic behind it, you know we've done it. People spend an extraordinary amount of time in the shipping unit. Spend all our extra
Someone said that's his figure around here. He's got to go back for that.
it's got to look
Which way you going? else has been sorted out, luncheon wise and everything, so it's well done. So,
Yeah. I don't blame him. Yeah, the one was in quite expensive.
well, we were not very keen on one because staying at one in for a wedding.
There's now the premiere in the travel pack.
Yeah,
This is apparently when we see
Where's she gone?